What's up, my know-it-alls? We are here again for the second live stream for the KnowItAllNation here, or we were affectionately calling Know-It-All News.
I like Know-It-All News much better, just to let you know. I feel we're giving you the news that we have.
I'm probably going to wind up having to do a poll. I'm guessing I'm going to have to wind up doing a poll.
I think you should. That'd be fun.
Yeah, it would actually be pretty fun. So yeah, one of the things we are ready to start talking about is we're going to talk about the awards, man. It's all the various stuff that have happened. We've literally had a slew of awards. You had the Golden Globes that happened. You had the Hollywood Critics Association. Then, of course, we recently just now had the Critic Awards that they gave out. And so it is absolutely time for us to take a look. And this is what we are calling our award show recap and review. Specifically, it is the road to the Oscars. Because everything leads to the Oscars.
And we have a few months before that even happens, so
no, we really do.
We can, all of us fans of movies and stuff can complain now until then.
No, for sure. My thing is, so the funny thing is, a lot of what we're dealing and facing in terms of all the different awards that are coming out has a lot to do with the timing. The strikes happened, and that pushed a lot of the award seasons.
Which confused me.
Absolutely, confused everybody. So, so now we're into, a good example is we just had obviously the Critics' Choice Awards, and a lot of, like, for instance, we'll use The Bear as an example. A lot of what The Bear was dealing with had everything to do with season 1, season 2.
Yeah.
Like they're getting awards
for
a lot.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Between the Critics' Choice Awards and the Emmys, I mean, the Emmys were moved too.
Oh yeah. Oh,
that's why I got confused with the dates.
Yeah.
I'm talking to him during the Emmys. I'm like, wait, that's not right. And then he had to remind me we had the strike and everything.
No, for sure. Absolutely. So you had wanted to go over a bunch of stuff that I really liked. I liked where your head was at with some of those things.
You want to start with the Critics' Choice Awards first?
Sure.
So why don't we go ahead and do that?
Okay.
Well, let me just start by saying I love the way the Critics' Choice Awards was set up. I don't think I've ever watched the Critics' Choice Awards before, so this was different for me to actually watch them. It wasn't fancy. It wasn't this big hullabaloo.
No, for sure.
Critics are there. They're going to tell you what you like. You're going to accept your award, and you're going to be done.
So it's so funny because we saw the what I considered almost laughable way that the Golden Globes were done. Which, by the way, though laughable, was still better than they've been done in years past.
Oh, yeah.
So phenomenal in terms of when you compare the things. Anyway, then you go to the Critics' Choice Awards, and I dug it. I liked what they did. I thought they knew where they were and what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. I think
it was a really good model.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I feel like when you get into those types of when you get into those kinds of shows, you forget that the people care about the actual awards and they care about the speeches. They don't necessarily care for all the fluff. So you get very little to no fluff this time around.
I was gonna say I want to know what I've always, passing before I met you, I was always like, I want to watch the awards because I liked this movie, and now it's more or less like I want to watch the awards because I liked this movie, but because I am now I feel like invested in where some of these things are going, whether it be Emmys or movies,
right.
Part 1s and 2s and 3s.
Sure.
It's more exciting now, and seeing the way the Golden Globes were, and seeing the way the Critics' Choice Awards were, I kind of fall in line with the way the Critics' Choice Awards went. I like the way that happened. I understand Golden Globes is just a big party, and if you disagree with me, that's fine. But I feel like the Golden Globes are a great party.
I agree.
For the actors and actresses.
Yeah. So my thing is, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and talk about specifically the Critics' Choice Awards and the Emmy Awards, and those two things and what they meant, and not just what they meant, but also kind of what they could mean for what we're calling the road to the Oscars.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and start with the Critics' Choice Awards specifically, review some of the people who won some of the things, and then hopefully get an opportunity to sort of talk. We'll talk a little bit more we're not going to cover everything. By all means, there's tons of.
There's too much to cover.
Yeah, there's tons of other people online who've covered all the individual things. We're just going to kind of go over some of the highlights. So if you're ready.
And the things that we found interesting.
No, correct. And as we go through it, you've got some observations
Yeah,
you wanted to talk
yeah. And
about,
you did too.
specifically
You
when we
did
get to
too.
the Emmys and whatnot. I know you had a lot of observations. So the first thing we're going to look at was who swept. Let's just start at the top. I like starting at the top of the thing. Specifically at the Critics' Choice Awards, obviously the big award winner was Best Picture with Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
And then Best Director, Christopher Nolan, of course, for Oppenheimer. What did you think of those two choices specifically?
I'm sorry, you said Best Director was Christopher Nolan?
Yeah.
Yes. That was awesome.
Sure.
We went and saw Oppenheimer in the IMAX, whole 9 yards. And it was, first of all, I don't think I could watch it again.
I agree. I do absolutely agree. It's one of those movies that you see it and you're like, okay, this was a really good movie, but I think it did what it was supposed to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
It winning Best Picture at the Critics' Choice Awards.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
No, not at all.
It doesn't surprise me at all. And it was up against, Barbie was up there. I mean, that was good. Killers of the Flower Moon were up there, so Oppenheimer beat out that. And then from what I understand, those are very good movies as well.
No, yeah, absolutely. And and again, I haven't had a chance to see Killers of the Flower Moon
That's next on my list.
It's one that I know is going to be rough. And but I'm gonna end up seeing it. But we did see Oppenheimer, we saw Barbie, we saw several others and whatnot. And so I liked the fact that to me Oppenheimer it's an excellent choice. Here's the thing: how many biopics do you actually know of that can deliver like this? Absolutely, that literally bring out that much of we'll call it the best in terms of all the stuff, and then also had people want to see it. I mean, literally had people coming in droves to see the thing. So it's good. I liked it. The other thing that forgive me. The other thing about for the Critics' Choice that I want to bring out was obviously this is where it's going to be interesting to see how things differ and how things happened. For the Critics' Choice, Best Actor was Paul Giamatti, and Best Actress was Emma Stone. I know Paul Giamatti is. Obviously he made a joke later that at the Emmys he made a joke that he went viral for having gone because right after the Golden Globes he went to In-N-Out Burger,
which I think is just awesome.
Oh my God, so
how more real? I mean, that actually, honestly, we put our actors and actresses up on these pedestals like they're not human beings.
Yeah.
But this made him feel like, you know what, he is still one of us. He's still one of us that wants to go and get something good to eat.
Legit. No, for real. No, it was great. Well, and it's funny, as we look at this road, again, talking about the road to the Oscars, the one thing I find interesting about the Paul Giamatti wins, because he's gotten several of them, is that it's looking more and more like if there's going to be if Cillian Murphy has anybody to be worried about, meaning anything that he could actually dethrone or knock him down, it could very well be Paul Giamatti.
I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, I actually have it bookmarked, and before the Oscars, we'll go ahead and actually watch that movie, The Holdovers. I have it bookmarked on Peacock, and it looks amazing. Everything I'm seeing from it looks good.
It does look really good. And one of the things I wanted to say was as we go through award season, and we don't always get to see everything before the awards come out. That's just the nature of what we do.
No, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But it does, when there's movies out there that I haven't heard of, and you're more familiar than I am.
Sure.
I want to see those movies then. So,
Same.
and that's why I think there's this big rush after the Oscars that they re-release all these movies in theaters again, and I hope they do that again, especially after trying to recover from the pandemic. But
sure.
It piques my interest, so I can't wait till we watch that.
I know that I myself am looking forward to the possibility of. That's why I've committed this year to watching more movies and making sure that there's way more on the channel. There's going to be more Mr. Know-It-All reviews, specifically movie reviews, because I feel like I have an obligation, especially if I want to be more taken seriously as a critic. We want to start being taken seriously as critics and be able to give our opinions and start having somewhat of an outlet-y type presence, especially when we're doing things like reporting on things and talking about stuff. I travel in a lot of scooper groups for whatever that's worth. So I'm aware of the rumor mill and whatnot. I'm not a scooper. That's not my thing. But I'm definitely about making sure that we, at least you and I, are up to date on what people are saying.
As much as we possibly can.
As much as we can. So we can at least practically talk about stuff.
for people that have tuned in,
Sure.
that doesn't mean he's going to change anything else. This is literally just movies that he's.
No, for
there
sure.
will still be crazy nonsense of TV series and stuff.
We love TV.
We'll never leave that.
No, for sure. Before we get, we're going to make a big shift in just a few minutes over to the Emmys, and then we have a lot of things to talk about regarding the Emmys. I want to finish kind of recapping with a couple more things.
Yeah.
The next thing was Best Drama Series was Succession, obviously. Best Comedy Series was The Bear, sort of same.
Blew my mind.
Blew my mind. I find it interesting because a lot of people have pointed out, and I kind of got the same. Even though you and I haven't watched The Bear, I feel like I knew it's not exactly a comedy. Like, there's funny parts in it, but at the end of the day, it isn't itself a comedy. Like, you think of a comedy, you think of Big Bang Theory, you think of those kind of things. So I don't know. I having funny stuff, I would call Shameless a dramedy before I would call The Bear a comedy. Okay, and
more or less like The Office.
The Office is a comedy, but I think, but the thing is, this is more like dark humor. If that's and now maybe that might be what they're going for.
That might be what it is.
Right.
I mean,
when we watch it, we'll know because it's on our list of things. Because I have so many things to watch.
We are going to binge through
No,
that.
we're totally going to absolutely. And I feel like I feel like that's probably what they're going for is more of a dark comedy, and we'll kind of see a little bit more about that. And then one of the final ones that I really want to point out before we should make the actual shift over to the Emmys is the best animated series was Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which I found amazing.
Awesome.
And
How
then
awesome was that?
Best comedy picture is also is Barbie. So yeah, I know we reviewed on the channel. And I'll make sure in the replay there will be a card up in the corner for you can watch the review that Baby Know-It-All and I did of Scott Pilgrim.
You noticed those two that won? She did the reviews on.
Yeah, I noticed that, Barbie. I know. I'm telling you, what's this kid know that I don't?
Right?
I'm going to have to clearly. I'm going to have to listen to her and be like, hey, what do you think? But there's a few things that she's looking forward to seeing. So I feel like I was really excited and happy that the Critics' Choice put animation on the main show, which is one of the points you have for. And we'll talk more about in the Emmys. I'm not going to steal that thunder. And I feel like it's important, an important distinction. Like, hey, what people who don't see animation. They see animation as a genre and not as a actual form of filmmaking. Right. And I believe that's wrong. I think that's wrong. Yeah. I believe firmly that animation should be just as important to the filmmaking lexicon as anything else. Right. I think just lumping it in as a genre is foolish because you can have horror animation, you can have action animation, you can have sci-fi animation, you can have fantasy animation, you can have all different kinds, and to sit here and try to lump it all together as one thing, I think is irresponsible.
I do too.
So,
I do too.
And we'll talk
I'll complain more about that later.
No, I know. We'll talk more. We'll totally talk more about that. This is a little bit. So then you get to the that's going to bring. Those are the big highlights. I mean, obviously we could go through every single one of the categories, and I don't want to do that. I think there's more to talk through.
There was a lot of as I'm re-scrolling through everything.
Yeah.
Barbie and Oppenheimer definitely pulled out a lot in the Critics' Choice Awards. We talked about. And we'll go back to the Emmys on this, but you said Best Animated Film. That was on here as well for the Critics' Choice Awards, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse won. But that was up against some really good ones too, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was surprised how awesome that was.
We were.
I was not expecting that at all. But that had its own category, and that's what I feel like the Emmys need to do a little more with that. But we'll get to it.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about. It's time to switch over and talk about the Emmys. Woo! We're literally going to discuss it. We're going to talk about the Emmys and what just happened. And it's so funny. I had to go pick up Baby Know-It-All from work as the whole thing was getting started. And safe or not, don't judge me. I had my TV with YouTube TV. I set it up on my visor, and if she gets in the car, I'm like, "Shh, they're starting." And I'm watching and she's watching it, and I'm like, my eyes like darting back and forth while trying to drive. And I realized by the time I got home, I was like, "Yeah, that probably wasn't the safest thing in the world to do." So anyway,
it's all right, but you heard it.
No, it didn't
matter. It's funny. I almost said taped. That tells you my age. I recorded it because I didn't want you to miss the monologue.
Right on.
So.
No, and again, let's talk about it before we get into some of the wins and stuff. Let's discuss.
What were some of your favorite things about the Emmys? We already know how much we loved the monologue.
Let me just say first off, the Emmys, they did amazing. I was genuinely blown away by. It was short. It was concise. You punched in. You punched out. You got the things. And as a guy I come from television, having filmed 2 pilots, having been in a writer's room, I love TV. And the fact is, they paid so much homage to television. I loved it. You had all these moments, and that's funny. I'm telling you, but I'm talking to my wife. There were all these really great moments where they played music from old shows, where you had the presenters come up and someone else is already doing is someone else's music is playing. At one point, Star Trek music played.
My word, you would have thought that there was a special national alert.
I didn't know if one of the stars from Star Trek was going to come out or somebody. I didn't know who, because you all know a couple people who are left, a handful who are left. It's like, so as soon as the music started, I said, "Shut up, everybody in the house, shut up." And then, of course, nobody. It was just somebody walking out to the music. But I liked the bits they did. The bits.
Some of my favorite bits that they did.
The reunions.
Because they did a whole bunch from Sopranos to Grey's Anatomy. My top favorite ones was Martin.
Oh yeah, Martin was great. I loved that.
By the way, he looks amazing.
He looks really good. He looked like he may have been on something, whether it was painkillers or something. The poor guy looked.
He looked like and I was gonna say also he just finished Bad Boys 4 is going to come out. So hey, he's a little older. But I love the way they played into their character as who they are.
They did so good with that.
So I really like that.
Bro, and I'm sorry. Black don't crack, because they all look amazing.
Oh my word!
I was blown away by all the different I was just shocked by the fact. I'm like, bro, let's reboot the show now. I mean, what's going on? It was cool.
Saturday Night Live with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
So much.
What I really loved about that was they let them do the weekend update.
That was so much fun.
That none of the other announcers that had these small little sketches were allowed to or didn't do all that. Not even Cheers did that. But they just let Amy Poehler and Tina Fey do what they did best, and I loved it. I was there for it, and to the point where I'm screaming for Baby Know-It-All to come down for the because she wanted to see it.
I loved it. Likewise for me in that vein.
Yeah. Ally
McBeal. So yes. I know you said you hadn't seen much about I loved Ally McBeal. It's one of the reasons why I was excited to watch She-Hulk, because they had said it was going to be Ally McBeal-like, and it wasn't. It's very disappointing. If I see my review for it, I'll put that card up here too. But seeing them do the bathroom dance thing with all and they look like they never missed a beat. I loved it. I loved it so much. And then and my point is, like, those kinds of fun little things, seeing the people from Cheers still around. You know, like you said, it was amazing. Yeah. You know, I'm just blown away by it. I've long since said they could easily do a Cheers reboot.
Oh yeah, they could.
You could easily have Sam own the rest. Sam bought the building, whatever.
Have Sam do something.
You could have a photo of Kirstie Alley's character on the wall
as
because
the
whatever.
Owner.
Right,
yeah.
you know what I mean? You could totally do some.
Their
cool stuff
in
like
memorandum, in memory of, was really, really good. What's his name? The singer. Somebody helps. Charlie Puth.
I want to say, sure, yeah, go for it.
I'm going to go with that. Sorry if anybody.
No, it's fine. Just move
on. When he was singing that song, and then they ended with Matthew Perry.
With Friends, the Friends things, yeah.
And I forgot, and we all do this.
He's literally over your shoulder.
I literally forgot some of the people that we lost.
Yeah, and obviously some of a lot of the younger folks really blew me away.
Anybody else blown away by how much?
I'm like, what's everybody doing?
How many young people that we saw?
Right.
I say young because I'm in my 40s and I.
But these are people that are super young.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
What? Anyway, I don't know. It was one of those things.
They did great.
No, they did.
They did really good. What'd you think of Anthony Anderson's mama?
I think that woman deserves all the things every time forever. And I didn't know, because here's the thing. We don't watch a lot of actual network TV. Most everything we watch is, the things we watch on network TV, we watch literally on their stream. So like we watch Hell's Kitchen on Hulu. We watch Bob's Burgers on Hulu, that kind of thing. So we don't actually watch network TV. So seeing his mom character, I thought, oh, they hired some actress to play his mom, and then they showed a promo for his game show.
Yeah,
that's his mom. That's legitimately his mom. And I was just like,
what was it that wanted to get yelled at?
Oh my gosh, I loved it so much. That was the News Tonight, or last week's News Tonight or whatever. It's dude, I love it so much. The host,
yelled at by Mama.
He's like, "There's no way I'm not getting talked off this stage." It was so great. And as soon as she shows up, he goes, "Thank Jesus and my family." And
that's it.
Good for you,
it was awesome.
Dude.
It was awesome.
No, it was very cool.
Jennifer Coolidge got the same treatment from
Jennifer Coolidge.
Can we talk about real quick, Christina Applegate?
Man, I tell you what,
that was encouraging for me.
It was such an honor to see her and see her diagnosis of thank you, muscular sclerosis. Totally took me by surprise when it happened, when it came up. Come to find out, it's something that she'd kind of been dealing with, and then now it had finally reached a place or that had gotten a new level or whatever, and so she was going to have to retire. And I remember reading that, going, "Wow, it's crazy." And then to find out she was a baby when she started,
literally a baby.
I couldn't believe it. And then to see her very, very strongly, and I feel like I'm condescending when I say bravely, but you get the idea. Going up there and just
bravely
really,
are appropriate.
She did so good. I was moved by her presence, and I don't mean presence as in her body being there.
I get that so much.
I mean her presence. Like she went to the mic. She hit her joke. She pointed the thing. I mean, she was very cognizant, very there.
Yeah.
And I was like, God bless you. Good job. Like, good job.
She tells everybody to sit down because they're making her feel bad.
I was like,
I'm like, that's how that's what I appreciated so much about her just doing that.
Absolutely. No, it was great. It was ultra empowering in a lot of different ways. And overall, just seeing, and it set the tone for, hey, we're going to see a lot of older folks doing the things that they did. The All in the Family callback was great. You got to see the two. You got to see Meathead and Sally Struthers. Okay, no, I'm kidding. But you know what I'm saying? Like you see them in the set, and again, it was wonderful. And in memorandum, starting with Norman Lear.
I Love Lucy. That was another one that they did.
That was wonderful. Yeah, Sopranos.
When Arsenio came out, they introduced him.
Arsenio.
They introduced Arsenio like he was still doing his show.
It was so good. Literally, dude was standing out there. Oh my God, Anthony Anderson was standing out there, and he's like, "Now Arsenio." I was like, "Oh my gosh." And they literally had the wall with the framing and the whole nine. And I'm like, they took so much care in making this not only entertaining, but making it worth watching. Now, one thing I do want to point out. A lot of folks have pointed out, oh, but it had its lowest audience ever. Lowest audience ever.
Lowest.
Okay? What are you expecting when we literally have 9 billion people on the planet connected to millions upon millions of different places to go see different things? I don't believe that was a bad showing. It was a bad showing if you compare it to previous years and when it was its top and this and that. But I strongly feel like it was as good as you're going to get in today's day and age. The fact that 4.3 million viewers logged on, if you will, like we did. We were on YouTube TV and watched the thing. I still think it did an amazing job. I don't have a problem with those viewer numbers.
I don't either.
I think you have to take everything and understand where you have to, one, read the room, and two, play the ball where it lies.
Well, not just that, but every year there's something else new when it comes to watching television or watching a movie or something. And for example, there was a football game on during this time, and Grandpa Know-It-All decided, I'm going to watch the football game, and then I'm going to come on down. So it's like, and when I say come on down, it's like, because he heard. So having this, having all these options is wonderful. At the same time, though, everything changes every year when it comes to what we have available to watch. It's so much easier to get YouTube TV now. It's so much easier to pay for some of these streaming services and not have to worry about missing anything. And not to mention that YouTube TV also records everything, just like everything else records everything.
Yeah, just like the old TiVo used to do and whatnot.
So it's like people physically showed up to see it originally.
Yeah.
People, I'm sure, recorded it and stayed off the internet just so they can watch it.
Right.
If my grandmother was still around, she might have recorded it if she had something to do. So.
Absolutely. If she'd had something to do.
I'm just saying.
No, I love that. Okay, so then real quick, so some of the things that happened were specifically, we had the Outstanding Drama Series, Succession, took home Outstanding Drama Series, and then there was the Bear, which took Outstanding Comedy Series. Mm-hmm. Again, not sure how much I think it's a comedy.
We're gonna have to watch it.
No, I agree.
Brother Know-It-All says it's worth every. He's all
really
caught up. Yeah.
Okay, then we'll watch it. Well, it also takes place in your hometown.
I would say it takes place in Chicago.
Yeah,
so,
man.
I mean, that's another reason why I'm sure my brother loved it.
No, absolutely. And you notice every single time anybody from that show was on, they thank Chicago, they thank the people, and to me that says a lot. That says that they know what they're talking about in terms of, hey, we want to thank the people. We're here telling a story that we wouldn't be able to tell if not for you guys, your culture, your whatever.
Well, even Grandpa Know-It-All, when he came down and started hearing that the Bear was winning all these, I had to remind him that this is about a chef in Chicago, which that is my dad. That's exactly what he did. He was a chef in Chicago.
He totally
a few
was.
Restaurants. So when we're gonna just make big pots of popcorn, and just sit and have to watch it.
Yeah, no, popcorn's only in that's only in some of those other states. Well, no, Chicago. Yeah,
we're legal.
Totally Chicago. No, for real. That's so funny. And then, and of course, Outstanding Limited Anthology Series was Beef. Beef was was the third big name that kept on winning the night, if you will. So before we get it, because I know you have some criticisms, and I want to talk about those in depth. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the fact that it starts to feel like a lot of these shows, specifically, we'll go with the Emmys. We're not going to go further back than that. We'll go with the Emmys. No. It feels like they have a lot of, one, obviously they had a lot of time to make up in terms of the strike and stuff. But for instance, Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul was nominated 53 times and never won in all those times. Yeah. And it lost to shows like Game of Thrones, the first run. That's how long Better Call Saul has been in contention and never won anything. Okay, that's huge. That's a big thing. And I feel like I watch other YouTubers. Dan Merle brought up a really good point on his recap show where he was talking about, how come, and he made a whole big thing about Better Call Saul. And he felt like, and he said the phrase he used was, it felt like these were the cool kid choices. Like you want to be up to with all the cool kids are watching and the new flavor of the week type thing.
I was just going to say flavor of the week, flavor of the month.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily know if I believe that. Because for instance, you take a show like Succession. I believe Succession literally deserves everything that it gets. But at the same time, are you genuinely telling me nobody in the Academy of Television, whatever, thought to themselves, hey, you know what, Better Call Saul is excellent? There are people who argue, now I know Boyfriend Know-It-All is going to take umbrage with this, argue that Better Call Saul is a better show than Breaking Bad was. Like there are people, because it gives so much depth and does so much to, like there's so much more happening in terms of the overarching of what made Saul Goodman become Saul Goodman. And so it's like, you got to sit here and you say, like right now the big clamor is for a Gus show. The Giancarlo Esposito show of character from Breaking Bad. He was a villain, big important villain, and he's actually the one been lobbying for it, saying, hey, why don't you guys give me my own, give me a spin-off show, we can do it. And I'm like, dude, yeah, give him one, just so the Emmys can ignore you too. But joking, that's what Always Sunny in Philadelphia, when they came up
That
to
was
present.
another one. So we had Martin, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Better
Yeah.
Call Saul. These are.
But I know that when Only Sunny said it, he was like, "Yeah, man, it's like we've been up here 15. That show's been on 16 seasons, hasn't been nominated for anything, hasn't won a thing. One of the one of the main guys got nominated for Welcome to Wrexler for like non-scripted, whatever, unorganized or disorganized series. I don't know if that's what it's called or not. Forgive me. But my point is like it's a reality show, whatever. It's you can't plan it reality show.
Right.
And I thought that was and they won one actually. They won an Emmy. So it's like, dude, and you sit
And
here
Succession
and you say,
was up against some really, really great. The Last of Us. It was up against The Last of Us. It was up against The Crown.
I am going to jump ahead to one thing, just on your thing.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for all of my genre shows that showed out this Emmys. I'm so proud. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds we won some stuff and also was nominated. It's on the off-screen stuff that wasn't shown, but either way, they showed up. Last of Us was very prominent. Andor.
I think it was 3 times Andor was nominated, and it was televised. There's a reason why I say that.
Okay, a lot of cool stuff.
That
so
blew
proud
me
of
away.
them. Yeah,
I thought that was awesome.
I loved seeing actual stuff that's not your normal, typical run-of-the-mill dramedy drama, whatever. This was stuff that I feel like is the too many people want to lump genre as if it's not a thing, but I'm like, dude, they tell some amazing stories, and I'm super proud of them for showing up the way they did.
As I'm scrolling, because we don't the Emmys, you don't get to see everything. And one of the things that I wanted to touch on was Nick Offerman won Guest Actor in a drama series for The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And I thought
really good.
He deserves that. And that episode was up, I believe, for writing. If it wasn't for writing, it was for something.
Everybody watching, you need to put your politics away. That was just good acting. It was excellent acting. It was a wonderful story. I loved everything about what the story they're telling. I mean, even it's funny. My best friend and I. My best friend's the biggest critic that you will never ever see, because the guy he's like, yeah, because my opinions are whatever else. But he and I talk constantly, and I remember he was like, because he can sometimes fall under the is this woke, is it not, whatever, and not necessarily understanding all the pieces. He had to go. He goes, I watched it. Do I wish the show episode was like it was? No. I couldn't stop watching it though.
Yeah.
They were the performance was riveting. The acting was amazing. You cannot deny what's what's there. I loved it, and it's funny. It goes back to to GLAAD winning the Governor's Award for the Emmys. I feel like things like representation aren't. They can be used as something to hit you in the head with,
right?
Or they can be part of the story. And I believe that's how if anybody wants to be normal, that's how you be normal. You just be normal. Tell the story. You tell the story. Yeah. Nobody wants, during that entire Nick Offerman episode, I believe episode 3 of Last of Us, not one person was like, they're gay, these are gay people. None. You saw the story unfold. You understood it. It was excellent. I was beside myself with, wow, this is amazing storytelling.
That could have been you and me.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody. And I feel like
that's what makes it a good story.
That's what
or a good acting.
It was amazing.
If you can take any scene,
anything,
and then put it in your life. I don't care if it's Andor or The Last of Us.
Absolutely.
If you can feel those emotions, that's a good writer. That's a good actor.
Yeah, man.
A whole 9 yards.
So I feel like so I'm sorry. Go on. You're talking about more about. You're funny. You're so funny. No,
I wanted to mention Nick Offerman because it was off. It was off. But the comedy was The Bear.
Yeah.
The best comedy.
Yeah.
Was The Bear. I think going back to drama for a second, I don't see Succession just took it all for the most part.
So again,
but.
Does that hurt things like the Emmys? I'm asking you now this honestly as a conversation point. If all they're going to do is put forth 3 or 4 shows, like does it speak
Well-
to a limitation in the diversity? Because we're talking about diversity is the big
diversity,
catchphrase of the
yeah.
day. And I'm sorry, how diverse is it when everything is a dramedy or a drama, or suspense or a thriller, but nothing can be genre? Why is there no further, like, why did nobody give more consideration to things like Andor or things like that? I mean, I can tell you right now, I can line up at least half a dozen episodes of Star Trek, of obviously Andor and some other shows that were hugely dramatic. Obi-Wan should have won more than just
And
for
they were up
visual
for
effects.
yeah.
Like
Was it visual effects?
I thought it was.
There was a couple. I thought a couple.
It might have been sound
a
design,
story or
who knows,
something.
something like that. But it was. I mean, there were moments. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a big fan of that particular series. I'm listening to our shows again from before. I'm putting everything on a podcast. You can subscribe to us on Spotify. It's literally both either Know It All Nation or Mr. Know It All Reviews. And so I'm listening to some of our old reviews, and I'm like thinking to myself, I remember that. There was some great drama in those things.
Yeah.
But what? Because there's talking aliens or special effects or lightsabers, it's like, no, I'm sorry. Or people are being teleported. Sorry about that. We can't take you seriously. Get out of my
guess I want to
face.
know why the Emmys don't put why they don't put more of those type of genres up now. Because let's be fair for a second. If it wasn't for like Star Trek on television as a sci-fi genre,
Yeah.
we still at this point on network television don't really see a whole lot of that sci-fi genre anymore.
Yeah.
I say network because I think of our the big guys, ABC, CBS, those guys.
Well, anytime those guys have tried, they give stuff a season, maybe a season and a half or two, and then they cancel or decide they don't want to. Now, Fox has always been very forward thinking with like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and other things like that. Fox has always been big about putting those kinds of shows out there because they knew they had to cater to an audience somewhere. You know what I mean? So anyway, whatever. So, go ahead. Go on. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Go on to the next thing.
Let's think about this for a second.
Okay.
If Andor was on Fox,
okay.
How do you think that would?
I don't think it'd be on Fox. I think it'd be on FX. I think the difference being I've seen slightly more mature versions of stuff on FX. Where if Fox
FX also carries American Horror Story too.
Right, there you go. Well, if Fox had, let's say, and I'm using it as an example because I know that they're not on there. If Fox were to have your NCIS, for instance, you know what I'm saying? Then the equivalent would be the FX had like the Commish, or they had those harder shows that were a little more in terms of showing those kinds of things.
Okay.
And so the harder version, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I feel like you'd get Andor on FX if you were going to do it on something of that kind of thing.
Do you think it would have been received better, worse? Doesn't really matter.
I think people would have
shot.
I think people might have seen. Well, a lot of people watched. Andor did very well.
Andor did great.
Right.
Yeah, Andor did great.
So I don't know. It's neither here nor there. I know that on the Andor front, the main actor just got finished saying that he has like 2 more weeks of filming on season 2 and then they're done. So they had to stop because of the strikes.
Rewatch all that, yeah.
Oh, I'm down. I love it. No, I'm down. Definitely. All right. So what else did you have? You had a bunch of things on your list of stuff to go over and talk about.
Can I talk about my anger, or do you want to go through?
Do it.
Explain to me why we didn't get the animation on camera. Because let's be for real, I believe we always have.
In the past, we had.
In the past.
Yeah, you have because what's his name? Rick and Morty once presented.
I said they presented.
Yeah, we've had cartoons present.
And they presented probably when Rick and Morty first came out.
Yeah.
Going back to what you were saying about flavor of the month, flavor of the year, I am extremely disappointed that we didn't see that. And you made the perfect point. There were some really good nominees. Do you have the nominee list? I thought I had the nominee list up. I'm very sorry, I don't.
I don't. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I can get it up real quick though.
But for the Rick and Morty was nominated for an episode in animation.
Rick and Morty, The Simpsons, Bob's Burgers.
The Simpsons.
There was another show.
What's his name? That did Primal. What's his name? That artist.
Gendy Tartakovsky.
Yeah. He was nominated for that
for
show.
Primal.
For Primal.
Yeah, it was great.
So there's some really, really great fan-based people that watch these animated series, not just children. I mean, adults. Like, it's Sunday, we watch Rick and Morty. I mean, that's what we do. And it turned out to be, they did them first of all off screen, so that really upset me.
Yeah, same.
And I know there's a lot of Simpsons fans out there, but I kind of feel like the Emmys copped out and just gave it to the Simpsons because they almost couldn't make a decision of what else was better. Because the episode for Rick and Morty, the episode for Bob's Burgers, yeah, I'm a huge fan of both of those, but let's be for real. I feel like those were better episodes than the Tree House of Terror that we get every year, all the time, that always seems to win.
I agree.
I might have just stuck my foot in my mouth on that one.
No,
I don't know if they always
no,
win, but
no.
I feel like they win very often.
So it was Treehouse. So the episodes they put forward for the animation Emmy was The Simpsons, Treehouse of Horror, 50,000, Bob's Burgers, The Plight Before Christmas, which I don't care who you are, that episode was awesome. That episode makes my daughter cry all the time. It's amazing. There's a show called Intergalactic, which I don't.
Oh, I remember that, but it's the same makers from. Isn't it the same makers from? No, that's something in Solar Opposites.
Yeah, no. Gendy Tartakovsky's Shadow of Fate, which is a wonderful episode of Primal, and then the Rick and Morty episode Night Family. Night Family was ingenious in a way that, honestly, The Simpsons hasn't been. It was poignant. It made sense. The Simpsons hasn't been, in my opinion, let's be real, relevant for quite a while. That felt like the safe one. That felt like I'm sitting here going, why throw away that you're just going to throw it because hey, whatever.
And don't get me wrong, Simpsons deserve to be be but if I look at all of those,
there were so many better ones.
Much more better ones. So, and for
three of these alone, I think, were better.
And now I'm going to speculate. Maybe that's why it wasn't televised.
Well, my whole thing is
Simpsons won again.
My whole thing is Gendy Tartakovsky's Primal is almost all silent. That's animation and storytelling with no dialogue. Not much dialogue. Growling, grunts here and there, whatever else. But for the most part, it was an original. Primal was an experiment that he did on purpose in order to prove, could he do an animation with no dialogue? And he did it amazing. If you haven't seen Primal, it's on HBO Max. Go see it. Go see it. It is amazing. Primal will change how you look at animation. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things that will change how you look at animation. Primal did it really, really well, above and beyond in a way that I wasn't expecting. To the point that I had to call Mrs. Know-It-All and say, "You got to watch this with me. It is amazing."
And I did.
So yeah.
And anyway. It was.
It was. All right, we're getting close here to the end of the the show. What more anything else you want to cover?
Well, now Beef took a whole lot, which I thought was awesome too. But as far those I think were my biggest points.
All right, so then let's go ahead and wrap this up with this. I want to review some of the other guilds and other people are coming out with their various awards. All of these things are part of what we're calling again the road to the Oscars. So what do they mean? What does that look like? And there's a lot of times inevitably, and believe me, there's far wiser and better people who do this on a regular basis. We just really enjoy this. Like we actually have in the past thrown full-blown Oscar parties with a red carpet, suit and tie, the whole 9 yards.
I gave out tiny little gold trophies I painted.
I actually still have a couple here floating around. We have our own little awards, and it was for you had to guess.
And if you got it right, you got the award.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the Know-It-Alls may do another Oscar show, Oscar party, and actually kind of do a show about that. But it'd be kind of fun. But so let's look at some of the things. So SAG-AFTRA is one of the first. It just came out recently. They just came out with their nominations for the SAG Awards, which a lot of this stuff, again, these aren't necessarily who they're going to be putting forward for some of these things, but at the same time, you look at and you sit here and go, okay, a lot of this information informs the greater show. So let's take a look. The SAG brought out their nominations. They are Outstanding Performer by a Male Actor in a Leading Role. You're looking at Bradley Cooper for Maestro. Coleman Domingo for Rustin. Coleman Domingo, he looked dope in his jacket and stuff. I've literally said he should be Kraven the Hunter. Paul Giamatti, The Holdovers, of course. Cillian Murphy, Oppenheimer. Jeffrey Wright, American Fiction. I hear Jeffrey Wright's really, really unbelievable in that. I need to catch that. I need it as soon as humanly possible. I believe, again, Cillian Murphy has nothing to fear except Paul Giamatti.
Absolutely.
Paul Giamatti is on the come up, and he's doing amazing in terms of just this award season. He has swept. So we'll see what that means ultimately, if anything, for the future. Looking at female actor in a leading role, we're going to look at Annette Bening for Naiad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, of course, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, Margot Robbie for Barbie, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. Emma Stone.
I heard Poor Things is amazing.
So did I.
I haven't seen it.
You want to talk about acting against type? Emma Stone, she, just the little bits I've seen, she is so good in this. And it's the kind of role that is such a different, it's a departure from what we normally see her do. And I think she could very well lock up her second, we keep joking, if not for Lily Gladstone, because my fear is this. First off, Lily Gladstone is amazing in Killers of the Flower Moon. But my fear is some people may be like, oh, we have to nominate her because of this. I just want to make sure we're nominating whoever's the best people for whoever did the best. And if it's Lily Gladstone, awesome. I'm down, man. I'm excited to see if she wins or not. But I'm telling you, Emma Stone's the person to beat in this thing, because we'll see. We'll see what happens. Outstanding male actor in a supporting role. You're looking at, Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction. Willem Dafoe, Poor Things. Heard he was great again in that. Robert De Niro, Killers of the Flower Moon. Robert Downey Jr., Oppenheimer. And Ryan Gosling for Barbie.
And Robert Downey Jr. won the Critics Award for that.
Robert Downey Jr.'s won several things for that. He won a bunch of stuff. He won that he also won the Emmy. No, not Emmy. Forgive me, not Emmy.
I'm talking the
he won the Golden Globe for it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Golden Globe and the Critics' Choice. So
both.
there's every possibility he's the guy, man. He's the guy, and people and this is going to be his bite at the apple. And I really, for his own, I love him. I hope he does well.
Who's our best? Or I'm sorry, I'm just skipping.
Go ahead.
I want to know what's Best Picture. What's up for Best?
Okay,
Picture?
so performance by a cast. Let's see, what is Best Picture? Let's blah blah blah. Outstanding performance by a cast. That's the whole thing. Outstanding. Let me see. Sorry,
That's okay. While you're looking for that, I hope that the Oscars are as good as they were last year. Last year, it was and I could have my years messed up. Everywhere, Everything, All at Once. Was that last year? I don't remember. Anyways. I want it to be just as entertaining as the Emmys were. I know it's going to be a little more stuffy, but at the same time, I'm also thinking that maybe me and Mr. Know-It-All need to watch more of these movies before the actual Oscars.
Agreed. No, I agree.
Because
100%.
I think then we can be really like, no, I want to try to see it against all of them.
Forgive me, and I should have known better, because it's been a long time. The SAG Awards are going to be specifically about actors, so their equivalent is going to be outstanding performance by a cast, meaning the whole group of actors. They're going to hold up actors.
Really, you know what?
So for them, it's cast and motion picture is going to be American Fiction, Barbie, The Color Purple, Killers of the Flower Moon, and Oppenheimer.
I think we should watch
I do too.
all of those.
No, absolutely.
We've seen a lot of nice handful of them, but at the same time, it's I want to be able to watch them.
I want to catch American Fiction. I want to catch American Fiction and Killers of the Flower Moon. Those are the two that I want to catch. The rest I've seen, or I've seen or know about, or know what I get it. The next ones was performance by a male actor in a television movie or limited series. You're looking at Matt Bomer for Fellow Travelers, John Hamm for Fargo, David Oyelowo.
Oh, you got stuck on it like I did last time.
I'm so glad
edited me out.
I totally did. No, you're good. Lawman Bass Reeves, which by the way looks amazing, and again, it's
Best friend know-it-all.
I'm just going to say, when it comes to this Bass Reeves thing, this is one of those that really hits me hard, because when I had a production company, we were actually in development of a Bass Reeves show. So the fact this has come out, and it's so funny, the first episode, my head writer, who's a good friend of mine, my best friend, he calls me up and he's like, they did what I was going to do. And I was like, I said, well, history's history, bro. Of course. History's history, and you're a brilliant writer, so no duh. Of course they did what you're going to do. Like, it makes sense.
You can tell it a different way now. It'll be great.
But anyways, and that was pretty that was interesting. And then of course Tony Shalhoub, Mr. Monk's last case, and then Steven Yeun for Beef. I think there's no doubt in anyone's mind that Beef's most likely going to win that.
Yeah. It was kind of funny as we were watching towards the ends of the Emmys. we were watching. We're like, everybody was. Oh, they're gonna win, and then like someone from like Succession was showing.
Oh, sure.
And we loved it. We really did.
As soon as they said, we're like, oh, they're gonna win.
But again, Succession does deserve those wins, and if they didn't, and we kid about it like. Yeah. I feel like we kept calling it. We got Schitt's Creeked.
Totally.
But we didn't. Yeah. Because I found out that was the first time in history in 2020 when Schitt's Creek they swept.
Wow.
The Emmys. Like that was like historical. Like we had 3, maybe 4 that did that. Especially I would say 3. The Bear, the Beef.
The Bear, Beef, Succession were the 3 that. Yeah, those are the 3.
White Lotus kind of fell in there a little bit.
It did. No, it did. So there you go. Now you know. And if knowing's half the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. We're going to go over some more stuff as the weeks approach. The Oscars themselves are going to be putting out their nominations, I believe, next week or the week after.
Oh, that'll be fun.
It's 2 weeks, but I don't know if I'm including this
too.
week or not in that 2 weeks. But anyway, I can't wait to talk about that. Of course, we will be back next week here, same time, same channel. It's 2 p.m. on Wednesdays, Eastern time, 11 p.m. Pacific time. 11 a.m. rather Pacific time. So if you get an opportunity, we'd love for you guys to come watch the shows with us and talk to us a little bit more about them. Jump in the comment section, let us know what you think. You can always subscribe to the show. This is also the Know It All Nation podcast, which you can go on Spotify or anywhere where podcasts are watched and watch the Know It All Nation podcast. You can also listen to the Mr. Know It All Reviews podcast, which is just again basically everything else here on the channel. Hopefully you're subscribed to the channel. If not, what's wrong with you? Otherwise. Follow us on all the various socials. I am at A Real Know-It-All, and Mrs. Know-It-All is at A Mrs. Know-It-All. And we genuinely love doing this stuff. And we really appreciate those of you who give us an opportunity to invite us into your lives and watch. And literally, that's all we ask. Just watch. Have a good time with us. You know, we normally do newsy type stuff, but we really felt like with the size and scope of everything happening in the entertainment industry right now for award season, that it was our responsibility to jump in and
tell you
and do some awardy stuff.
And do awardy stuff. So
yeah.
It'll be back to normal.
Very, very soon. But all right, guys. I can't think. Can you think of anything else?
No. Well, once we're done, we'll think of stuff we should have said.
Absolutely will. No, for sure. That's exactly how it works. 100%. But until next time, never forget.
Everyone loves a know-it-all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.